Stellar Blade. This is a game basically for adults, or I should say aimed at adults. It's kind of a hack and slash game. It's a role-playing game. It is actually made by a South Korean developer and company, Shift Up. And I think it honestly looks great. But it's been in the news a lot because people are very offended by the existence of its main character, Eve. Basically, this is a game targeted towards adults, and the main character
It has a stellar butt.
Yeah, that's very true. And I wanted to talk about a couple things with this today. Jill, you're my wife. You're here with me, obviously. And I don't know if you've been on this channel yet.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I have.
There's a first time for everything. Yeah. And this game is actually coming out around our anniversary.
Yeah, it is. So it's going to be our little anniversary present.
So I think what's interesting about this game is that no one's really talking about the gameplay. I mean, fans, so I should say pre-fans, if you can even call them that, people who are interested in the game and playing it are talking about the gameplay. People who are interested in playing the game are talking about the beautiful graphics. But a lot of the attention in the media from either these attention-seeking news websites or people on Twitter who are offended by women's bodies, basically the talking points are just about how this character is too ideal.
Yeah, she's too beautiful.
And I find that's something that we made a video about previously, but I find it very odd. You know, there's a lot of really cool stuff about this game that's been being revealed recently that I would think that would be praised in the media. Like, for example, no microtransactions.
Yeah.
How many costumes did they actually say that there was in the game? They said
Over
something.
30.
Yeah. So the director said there are about 30 different outfits in the game, and they're all acquirable through gameplay.
Yeah.
But essentially, he was saying that you'll unlock these hairstyles, you'll unlock all kinds of different looks by playing the game.
And you don't have to purchase anything. It's just you would use, like, the in-game currency to, like, go to the shop as Eve and be like, well, I want to use my little coins to buy this earring. But you don't have to, like, pay for it with real money.
And then you put it on and you customize your character. And it kind of seems like he's viewing it a little bit like a playable dollhouse in some ways, where he wants this beautiful character. He wants the players to enjoy this character, to enjoy her body, enjoy her story, and have fun, dress her up, and experience the game they want.
I would like to mention real quick, as a woman, something that I have noticed growing up is in the, like, feminine culture of being a girl, growing into a woman, is the fact that majority of toys and video games that are marketed towards little girls are about enjoying the female protagonist with her clothes and her different accessories and playing around with her and her being beautiful. I mean, like, take for example some of the Barbie fashion games. Barbie dolls in general is always a good example. Bratz. I mean, they even call Bratz rockin' hot. And my point here with this is it kind of seems like this game is very obviously aimed at both men and women. It's not aimed to be misogynistic like a lot of fake feminists are trying to say it is.
Yeah, that's what's so weird to me about this game is that the body of the main character has been heavily criticized. And I know that there is some stylization going on, but there are actual pictures of the body scans happening, and it was a real model. It was actually a South Korean model who got scanned into the game. That's something we talked about in our other video.
And they may or may not have enhanced her body a little bit, but the reason that they do that sort of thing is because it's a fantasy-type game with a fantasy-type character in a fantasy setting. And a lot of times, fantasy games have fantasy proportions. And I honestly don't find anything offensive or wrong about that. That would be like being offended by Shrek, because he's a fantasy character with fantasy proportions.
And the argument is always, well, Shrek doesn't play into the stereotypes and body types that women are told that they should have for blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, at the end of the day, this is entertainment. You know, in the same way that I'm not going to rip off my shirt and have the physique and superpowers of Thor, I don't really expect every woman to look like Eve from this game. And, you know, I actually thought something that the director said was really good. He has a lot of quotes on this, so it could certainly be a long video if we wanted, but he basically said that when he plays a game, he would like to see someone who is better looking than myself. That's what I want. I don't want something normal. I want to see something more ideal. I think that is very important in a form of entertainment. This is, after all, entertainment targeted for adults. And that's actually why I wanted to talk about this for a few minutes, is because I really respect Stellar Blade. Even if the game comes out and it's not very good, which so far it's looking like it will be good, time will tell.
It's looking like it's going to be really good.
I respect that the director of this and Shift Up in general wants to stick to this vision. They're not being dissuaded by people who are criticizing it. I mean, he even goes on to mention that there are people criticizing it. He basically said, in terms of what he considers to be an ideal design, he considers it as someone that can show their own charms and attractiveness without damaging the narrative or setting of the game. And he even went on to basically talk a little bit more about this and talk about how the character has a lot of emotions and becomes very much more human. And, you know, he talked about even them putting more attention into the back of the character model because that's what players are going to look at.
The most of the game, you're going to look at the back side of her, so they put more effort into that, and I think that's really interesting. And I wish that people wouldn't get so offended by femininity and women's bodies and the fact that this woman is beautiful. I feel like a lot of the people who are upset about it are people who honestly think that they aren't that beautiful and are mad that those stereotypes exist, and I feel like it's a them problem instead of a Stellar Blade problem.
Yeah, and I think that it's something that's really interesting because he even goes on to actually address that, basically saying that in games there's all the views that people have which are not always positive about unrealistically beautiful characters. I mean, he knows that people are criticizing the design of Eve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he knows that people are criticizing this, but something that I really like about this game before it's even out is how many things that they've taken into account. Like, they know that, I mean, men like this too. Men are just told not to like it. Like, with playing with dolls, if you left a boy alone in a room of dolls, no cultural impact at all, no, you know, oh, you're gay if you touch that type, like, goading from other boys or anything.
A boy would love dolls.
They would play with them. They would dress them up. It's human. It's natural for humans to want to present their best selves. That's why
do you think The Sims is so successful?
It's not just girls. And why do you think that people buy clothes? You know, there's not just fashion for women. There's fashion for men. Otherwise,
and men take it seriously, especially shoes. A lot of men are very elite about their shoes.
Right, and that's a fashion statement. It's just not called that. You know, it's not called that for men. But I think it's interesting because the director and Shift Up, they know men and women like to dress up their character, and men and women like pretty characters. It's just these fringe people who I feel like are upset with themselves, like you said.
Yeah,
that
and just want to ruin things for people.
Right, because they don't want to have to look at it. It like bothers them to see that it's out there. But for me...
And it bothers them that it's successful, because they, like, for some reason don't want to see a beautiful, amazing woman that's more beautiful than them be successful in media, because then it makes them feel like that they have to be beautiful and amazing like that, when really they should just be working on themselves to try and not be so insecure. Right,
be your best self. Yeah. If you don't want to measure up to a beauty standard, you don't have to. You know, I don't plan to ever have like a chiseled six-pack. I want to get in a bit better shape, but I don't plan to do that. There are girls who wouldn't be into me because of that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I like your body.
I found one who is. I found one who is. And my point is that I feel like a lot of people are very upset about, you know, these things, and they're taking it out on this game. But I really respect that the director is holding his own. He doesn't really seem bothered by it. I mean, people are tearing him apart online. He's just like, yeah, my character's hot and bangable. So what? I mean, like,
I wanted her to be hot and bangable, I tell you what.
She straight up knows that she's beautiful and, like, she has a great body, and the actress knows that she has a great body and seems to have a fun time posing around, too. I mean, there's
Why
nothing...
do you think she took the role? She knew she was hot and wanted to have that preserved in a video game.
And there's nothing wrong with any of this. And I guess what bothers me about this is that so much of the discussion is only around that. You know, like, the gameplay itself looks really fun. The hack and slash type RPG gameplay, and the fact that there's no microtransactions. This is just a complete game.
Yeah. It's just a complete single-player game that you don't have to pay extra money for.
We don't see that often.
No,
like,
I mean,
we do see it. Like, we see games like Elden Ring, but the East is doing such a better job than the West at this. At, like, delivering a complete package of a game. And this should be something that's being praised. Like, there should be 100 articles when you search this game up about just that. And instead what you're seeing is it was rated 18 plus in Korea because of sexual themes. That's like the top 12 articles. It's not, no one's talking about the fact that this is a complete game, that they are aiming for making the players happy.
I can name off a bunch of games that are rated M17 plus in America because they are violent. You know, it doesn't matter if it has sexual themes or if it's violent and what it's rated. I feel like what matters is the content of the game.
Well, that's what pisses me off is if Halo Reach comes out and it's rated M, no one cares.
Yeah.
Because it's blood. But if this is rated M...
because the character's hot, it's a bad problem.
Like, it has to be brought up.
Yeah.
But this guy saw a woman that he thought was beautiful in real life. And he was like, she's hot. I want my character to be beautiful.
Wait,
he put her in the game.
Hold on a minute. How can a man possibly look at somebody and say, oh, she's hot?
Because he's objectifying her.
That is horrible and wrong. That is awful. How dare he look at a woman? It's
so weird to me because it's like, you'll have middle-aged women who are like 45 on Twitter posting about how like, oh, that scene when Thor took his shirt off had me drooling. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, cool.
And that's okay for the female gaze.
But then that doesn't exist according to them either.
Oh, okay.
But then when you have something like this, it's just this huge problem. And I know I talked about it before, but the reason I want to talk about this is because I really do respect the fact that they're doubling down on it. Way too often, somebody tries to make their art or they try and make something creative or interesting, and these fringe nut jobs, because that's what it is.
And fake feminists.
They come in and they ruin it for everybody by like tampering with it, either from the inside, like by trying to get their consulting company in it, Sweet Baby Inc., or they will try and, get into a position where they can influence it or cancel the product with enough likes on social media. This guy just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's going to make the game, whether it sells or not, the game is going to be out there forever. Too fucking bad.
And you know what I bet about the game? I bet when you walk around, you won't see random posters promoting random things, like random movements that don't have anything to do with the game, just because it needs to be inclusive to everyone.
Ooh, you can't say that nowadays.
Oh, sorry.
You can't say that. We welcome all heroes. I do think it's funny, though, like, it's true, like, Western art, and I love a lot of Western art.
It needs to be inclusive to absolutely everyone.
It bends over backwards to try so hard to posture.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Even if it doesn't have anything to do with the narrative.
Every time you turn a corner in a Western game, it feels like they're trying to tell you something that they believe. Like, we value all people in wheelchairs.
Here's all of our political beliefs.
Or here's all of our humanitarian beliefs. I understand provoking your players to think. But there's something to be said about the excitement around this game, that this developer is just making a fun game. It's meant to be beautiful.
It'll probably have some deep themes about it.
Probably, and it's meant to be fun, and that's it.
And it's meant to have a good story, I hear.
Be complete.
Yeah, and be a complete experience that you don't have to wait another season for because the base game was rage baity.
Right. And that's kind of what I really respect about this game. Whether it turns out amazing or horrendous. I don't think it will be, but let's just say someone looks back at this in 5 years and it is. I really respect that they're sticking to their guns on it. They're trying to make a fun, complete game. They're not, I guess I would say tiptoeing around and trying to get around what the modern people are talking about.
They're living up to their name, Shaft Up?
No, it's Shift Up. It's Shift Up. I'll be living up to Shaft Up when I'm playing the game, of course. But I do find it funny, and I've seen a lot of girls that are excited for this game, not just you.
I'm one of them.
When I made a video on Degenerate Play about it, a ton of women in my comments were talking about how they don't support the ideas of, these Puritan ideas. It used to be that it was like a big religious thing. Like when something like this would happen, it would be a lot of very American religious people, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying this was their outcry, would be think of the children. They'd be like, well, you can't have that. Video games are meant for kids. You can't have, GTA San Andreas where you see part of a woman's nude body or something. You can't have that.
But
like, what if
these
a kid sees it?
video games are meant for adults.
Exactly. And I think it's funny that the medium has advanced and people's beliefs have changed so much that even when there still are pushes to censor art from religious people, it's actually not usually about this kind of thing anymore.
Yeah.
You don't really see a lot of, like, church outcry about some girl in a bikini in a video game. They just say, like, whatever. If I don't want to interact with that, I won't play it.
Yeah, and if they don't want their kids to interact with it, they just won't let their kids play it.
But now, instead, things have changed so much that I feel like it's the opposite types of people. Like, it's these people who are very human-centric, like they're very focused on like the issues of people.
Yeah, it's these people who call themselves feminists, but then they don't understand that it took us a really long time to not have to wear skirts all the time anymore, just to be able to wear pants, to be able to show our bodies without being called a whore and a slut.
Saudi Arabia, I think it was actually in recent years, women were allowed to drive, I believe.
But now, for some reason, all these Western people are mad that a woman is showing her body. It's like, what do you want? Do you want women to be covered up all the time? Like, why can't a woman like Shin Jae-yoon, who is the actress for Eve, be happy with the fact that she has a beautiful body and show that off in a video game. I just don't understand.
And then if you don't want to play it, you don't play it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this was a game that came out, it lied to players, it enticed you to do horrible real life crimes and like all kinds of horrible stuff. Yeah, sure, there's a reason to be outraged. Or even recent games that came out that a lot of people like Suicide Squad feel like were disrespectful to previous characters they had encountered.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason to have opinions and get upset, but this game is not out. And people are mad and calling it like for incels. They're saying it's for people who are porn addicted weirdos. That's one take I read on Twitter. It had thousands of likes.
What about girls who just like beautiful girls and being able to dress them up and play video games?
Well, and the other thing is it completely ignores bisexual or gay women.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's a lot of gay women.
Wait, I thought we were being inclusive. Aren't gay people supposed to be in everything?
And that's what's funny to me is that there's a lot of gay women who like the design of Eve, who like find her hot.
Well, like I've said many times before, me and a lot of the other bi women don't count because a lot of us are half straight, as a lot of the other fellow gays like to say.
The fellow gays.
And it seems like it's going to be a really enjoyable game, and I'm really excited to play it. And I hope that, maybe you guys will check out Degenerate Plays, because we might even let's play the game.
I would love to let's play it. It looks so fun, and it looks to me like Devil May Cry mixed with Kingdom Hearts, mixed with like an adult female character that I can just dress however I want.
And it looks very sci-fi. It kind of reminds me of like a Star Wars type game where it's very sci-fi.
Yeah, Star Wars,
and
Mass
very
Effect.
advanced in technology. Yeah.
It has like that kind of vibe to it, so it's really cool looking. Even kind of, it's been being called the South Korean Nier. Like, and the director, by the way,
that's definitely what it reminds me of, is Nier.
And by the way, the director thinks that's high praise.
Yeah.
So this guy has like such good spirits and he seems like just such a nice guy. Seems like he's making the thing he wants to make. He hopes players will enjoy it.
I hope I get to be a fan of him.
And that's all there is to it, and that's all there should be to it. I'm very tired of the fact that there's so much more to it and that you have to tiptoe around when talking about this stuff. It's okay for there to be different types of stuff. That's totally fine. And some games, a character like Eve would not fit at all, and that's okay too.
But it fits for this game. And you know what? I honestly feel like we need more games with beautiful female protagonists. I grew up with games with beautiful female protagonists. I grew up with Barbie. I grew up with Lara Croft. I love games like that they make me feel empowered as a person, I guess.
If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We definitely will talk about Stellar Blade again. It definitely fits on this channel, being an RPG, and we're very excited. We're also going to try and play through it over on Degenerate Plays, our other channel. The link is in the description down below. And Jill, you had something you can talk about that if people want to support our channel, there's a really cool way that they can.
Yeah, so I actually have a website called cosmobunny.shop, or you can go to degeneratej.com, because I know a lot of you guys came here from Degenerate J, our friend Jay here. We actually have a discount code, speaking of that, which is DJAY123 for Degenerate J, and you can put that in at checkout for 10% off of your order. So I hope you guys go check it out. I make some really awesome resin creations out of recycled manga and recycled comic books. I'm really into anime, and I want to make more anime-inspired jewelry and anime-inspired coasters and trays and keychains. So I hope you guys go check that out, because I think that definitely fits the theme of this channel, and I hope you enjoy it.
And as always, everybody, stay shui.